Guys, we are back here for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and sure you hit that subscribe button, and also make sure you guys like the video. Now, honey, the girls are fighting. The girls are fighting.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Well, guys, I did a video, I think it was yesterday, and I had brought up the situation with Kenya. As we're learning, Kenya is not going to be filming, at least for this season. And frankly, it looks like she won't be returning. Now, that's just my take. Maybe she will. But, I had gave y'all a little rundown on Kenya. And what I said was, a lot of times when, sometimes bad things happen to other people, sometimes people like to rub it in their faces instead of just minding the business that pay you, or just instead of saying anything. But what I said in my previous video, I said I can never forget how Kenya was doing all of these interviews, just talking about Nene, about, pretty much that she wasn't coming back to the Real Housewives, and she shouldn't have never sued employer, when I would have just stayed out of it. Because look, if that lady says she felt like she was discriminated against, who am I to say that it didn't happen? So I just thought that was really out of place, considering that she did it multiple times, baby. And guess what? Neneleaks has
It
something.
clearly means that the network is sending you a message. You're not as important as you think you are. The message is very clear. Either the network feels that you're still a valuable asset on the show, or they don't, and you're replaced or phased out, and you just have to move on.
Well, honey, that did not age well. And I told y'all the other day that, it kind of looks crazy when you run your mouth and bury somebody, well, at least attempt to bury somebody, because sometimes that can be your karma. Well, it looks like old Neneleaks said the message is very clear. Now, those were Kenya's words to Nene. She said the message is clear. They are phasing you out. Okay, so that is what Kenya said to Nene, and Nene responded like, "Honey, the message is very clear." Now, some of y'all was in my comments saying that that Kenya reached out to Nene. I don't know if she reached out to Nene. I have no idea, but imagine going on all of these interviews and just talking negative about somebody, to the tune of basically the network don't want to have anything to do with them. So just imagine doing that. And then the network hires someone else who you get into a spat with, and then the network determines that they're not filming anymore with you. Imagine how that must feel. But baby, guess what? I said, I don't know if Housewives is just, well, I do know. Maybe they're just doing press, because y'all know the ratings have been terrible. Well, it looks like Brit Edie, honey, is doing press. And let's get into what she had to say about Kenya.
I think that I wish I could take back. But what she did was a million times worse. So there's no way you could go around and play the victim now. I mean, I did some things myself that, of course, I'm going to take accountability for, that, I should have done. But outside of that, I really had an opportunity to really get to know the ladies.
Then they kept sending me information.
Well, let's kind of get into this, because what I don't want to do is kind of pretend as if Brit is not a victim. I believe they both did some pretty crazy things to each other, and trying to weigh which one is the worst is just, I mean, they both did some pretty terrible things. They both did. Now, Brit trying to make it seem that she is this total victim, when you did make that statement, girl, about the pow pow. Now it seems like she's saying that she wasn't talking about Kenya. So it's just like, girl, you want Kenya to take responsibility, but you're not taking responsibility either. And the bottom line is, Brit, you wanted a problem with Kenya. I mean, everybody seemed to think the same thing. Write in the comments, girl, you wanted a problem with Kenya from day one. Now she's talking about she has to go to therapy. Somebody said, was the therapy before or after she talked about Shamia's baby? So it's like, girl, you're becoming a Karen here, Brit, but they not saying nice stuff about you either. And then another commenter is like, threatening someone's life is worse. Production didn't protect Kenya, because in all honesty, she didn't say, I'm gonna do this to Kenya, but the manner in which she referenced her pow pow and her whips and all of that, we know exactly what you were referring to, Brit.
Disappointed in some of the ladies, and I thought they would have my back more. I thought they would be more supportive. And I just feel that because she has been around for so long, I think nobody wanted to just step on any toes or just, not have her back. And wrong is wrong. And a lot of these beautiful women, they have a family. And I'm just like, how would you feel if you were put in the situation that I was put in? Mm-hmm. And that's when I'm just like, let's use logic. Nobody would want to go through what I experienced. And I'm so grateful that I was not in that room.
Okay, Brit, girl, we are tired of you, because again, I'm not one of those Kenya twirl fans, but at the end of the day, girl, you were wrong too. You want to justify what you did or say, okay, I apologize, so it's not so bad. For one, you don't know what type of trauma Kenya has been through. She overreacted, and you most certainly overreacted. So, at the end of the day, who was in the wrong? Both of them were in the wrong. Okay. They both were in the wrong. So I don't take Brit's side. I don't take Kenya's side, because in all honesty, they both were traumatized. They both were. So stop trying to play victim, Brit. You are not a victim, ma'am. In fact, people feel like you started it. Based on what we saw, it did look like you started it. And based on what Porsha said, it really looked like Brit came in this situation having some kind of understanding of who she thought Kenya was. And it seemed like she was not going to let Kenya get the upper hand with her, and she came in hot. But from what I saw, it seemed like Kenya wasn't even being Kenya, or I don't know if maybe she was afraid, but it just seemed like she really did seem like a different person. So I kind of feel like Brit actually was a fan, and she watched the show and maybe did some things thinking that, hey, I'm gonna have one up on Kenya. And it kind of went bad because Kenya paid her dust. And that seemed like the real problem, just because Kenya wasn't even messing with her. Sometimes, you can just ignore a person and it just makes them feel really, really low. Well, listen, I've been telling y'all about Porsha for some time. Now, I know y'all Porsha fans and y'all can be her fan, but I'm here to tell you Porsha ain't S-H-I-T. And I mean it with a strong, she ain't S-H-I-T. If you guys have not figured it out now, she's not a good friend. And I done told y'all this over and over again. Well, Porsha now she started a YouTube channel. So she's on YouTube, which I start to think, y'all know Shamia has a YouTube. Now all of a sudden, Porsha has a YouTube. So it kind of made me think, is she, does she want to try to like one up Shamia? Because Shamia did just start a YouTube. And guess what? Shamia started her YouTube and she has about almost 16,000 subs, which is actually pretty good to have just started your channel. So she's doing really well over there on YouTube. And I thought that was really odd that Porsha just out of nowhere, now she's on YouTube, which is, I think everybody should be on YouTube. But I just thought it was mighty odd that Porsha now jumps up on YouTube. But the thing of it is Porsha is selling y'all a bunch of BS because this is a woman that was supposed to be on the show talking about her life that she don't talk about. And all she's talking about is this fake storyline between her, Dennis, and Drew. So now she's telling y'all she gonna give y'all all of this information over on YouTube. So let me let y'all in on a little secret. She can't tell you anything with regards to filming. So you will not be getting that tea. So are you saying then that Porsha is going to come on her YouTube channel and tell you guys something that she didn't tell the network? That's a negative no. So I'm not sure what she's going to talk about. And it's really interesting that she's saying that she's going to give all of this tea. She's on a reality show. So we would watch the reality show to get the tea. But since she's not talking about anything with regards to her real life, I don't know what she's going to give y'all on YouTube. I would say more lies, I guess. But here is another thing, which was very interesting to me. The fact that let's get into it. Let's get into it, y'all.
Expose something. Or maybe I don't have to, but I want to. I don't believe it. I don't believe the storyline. I know. I really can see full picture now that the Dennis and Drew and Ralph, to me, feels like a made-up storyline between the three of them.
Girl, quit your lying. Porsha, girl, listen, again, Porsha fans, you can be a fan, but Porsha is a liar. She's a terrible friend. So now she wants to tell y'all that the Drew Dennis stuff is not real. Okay, well, first of all, it was, to me, it seemed like Porsha was saying that they were in a relationship. I told y'all from the beginning that they're not in a relationship. So that is just simply not true. So the fact that she's spinning it saying it's a fake storyline, it's a fake storyline that she was a part of. Now let's get into what she said about Kenya.
Housewife, still on the show right now, who gave Kenya that nude information.
So now we're clickbaiting Kenya, okay? So what Porsha is doing is she's using this opportunity to create this YouTube channel and tell y'all that she has inside secret of who gave Kenya something, which is a damn lie, okay? And guess what? Guess who wasn't happy about what she said? Yes, Kenya. Kenya said, absolutely no one on the show gave me anything. Stop using my situation for clickbait. Isn't that interesting that, Porsha and Kenya was supposed to be in this great place. The minute Kenya got put off the show, Porsha jumped right to the other side. Porsha says, that's a lie. We talked day and night, and I personally went to the network production and fought for you before you showed her underage explicit pics. First of all, let's just say Porsha and Kenya did have some conversation that none of us know about. Why would she come on here and expose it, even if it was true? But not only does she do that, she come on here and tells Kenya that she showed somebody's underage explicit pics. First of all, Porsha, and I'll say it again, is not a good friend. We saw this same attitude play out with Nene. We saw the same attitude play out with Candy. If you guys remember, she exposed Phaedra, but Phaedra really never said anything. But she exposed Phaedra. I just want y'all to understand, Phaedra got exposed because Porsha never wanted to take accountability, because whatever Phaedra told you, you were the one repeating it. And then you're going to try to say you didn't know that it was a lie. She throws everybody under the bus. I done told y'all this lady is not a good friend. So now Kenya is off the show. She done threw Kenya under the bus. And now she's telling Kenya, you exposed somebody underage explicit pics. And hey, we all pick a side, we decide whose side we're going to be on. But at the end of the day, Porsha just is not a good friend. I don't know any other way to say it. We have saw time and time and time again. Now, listen, I'm not saying by any means that you shouldn't or, should tell your friend if they're right or wrong, but I don't think you need to come and tell us, whatever, conversation you have with Kenya about what she did. You don't need to scold her in front of people that are not in your friendship group. So I just feel like Porsha is using this situation to leverage her YouTube channel. And I've been telling y'all for, some time that the lady don't have money like that. I tried to tell y'all, but nobody wanted to listen. So now Porsha wants to join the people over here on YouTube. I wonder why. But one day, y'all gonna learn to listen to me, because Porsha is simply not a good friend. I'm not saying I agree with what Kenya did. I don't agree with what Brit did either. Kenya is not the only one that did something stupid. The girl Brit did, they both did. So I don't feel like one is better than the other. They both at about the same low level. Okay. So Nene has entered the chat and she telling Kenya, girl, yep, in so many words. You remember when you said that to me, honey? Yeah. Well, the message is very clear, Kenya, that apparently they don't want you around no more.